Got a dream in a tear last night, watched the world fade out of sight. Seen the ghosts of time preside, eagles soared and falcons cried. Sleeping phoenix on a rise. Abundance and strange the skies. Strange the skies. Hello, and welcome to Phoenix Rising. Warning. Warning. What's coming up is not New Year's. You know, I've been doing this for many, many years now. December 31st is not New Year's. It is the change of the calendar that we use. There's no question about that. Obviously, we're going to enter into 2011, leave 2010 behind. And because of the time of the year and its ancient, literally, associations with festivals that have always been part of what we are, this is a time for celebration, and it is a time for the so-called holiday season. But keep in mind, it's not the end of the year, and that's something that's really important psychologically. The fact is that if you look at the new year and the changeover to 2011, you'll see that it really takes place in a field of real confrontation and the dilemmas that can arise out of that. And it doesn't open up the window to something that's new. In fact, those people that are making their New Year's resolutions on, you know, somewhere in the middle of that whole New Year's celebration, they're making all these resolutions about the way in which they want to begin their year and what they want to do, and yet it's not the end of the cycle, and they can end up being very confused by those resolutions simply falling apart very quickly because things that need to have been dealt with and completed have not been completed. The Rave New Year is on January 22nd of 2011. And as I have done every year, I will offer a free online analysis of the coming year and what there is there for all of us to expect from the program. Enjoy the holiday season from all of us at Jovian Archive Media. But don't be fooled, it's not the new year. And now, on with the show.
I'm a manifestor, and I have to inform, and I'm splenic, so it's being in the now, and if I'm lucky, I know it in the now. I met human design 2 years ago. There was an article in a magazine, and I was reading that, and that was a moment of knowing, you know. It was yes, 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 I want to know this. So I made an appointment, and it was like a takeoff. From that moment, it was on the road, and yeah, actually, I'm thinking, doing, living with it every day, and yeah, it's wonderful for me. Oh yeah, just as being as close as possible I've ever experienced till now. Oh yeah, and that was I've experienced a lot of things from all Chinese, Qigong, yoga, all, but it's really quite different. And I love it to be to stay on my own, you know. It's
the manifest way.
Yeah, the manifest way, yeah.
But even me though, I love being by myself, just enjoying it.
Yeah, and that you can do everything with the knowledge on your own. You don't need other people. It's amazing to be here, and that's the spark. Yeah, it's a lot of energy, and it's beautiful to share that energy. But when you know I go home tonight and I feel, yeah, I have my own spark on the human design. You know, that's amazing. I'm a cave woman, alternating, and I'm experiencing it now for on 1.5 years. Yeah, and you know, it's by me, it's getting slowly. It's like my unconscious definition, you know, it happens. And then I look back and I realize, okay, I'm much more comfortable with myself. I'm much more comfortable in my head. I have a really, my life is going just an easy way, you know. I get up in the morning and I think, oh, it's Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. And then Tuesday unfolds, you know, that's, yeah. And sometimes I like some sweet or something, and then sometimes I don't do, other times I do, and actually I know what my system can deal with and what's really not good for me. And yeah, I think it feels natural in a way, just having my nuts and my apricots and try some broccoli soup, you know, just, yeah, and I say, okay, try this another time, or no, that was it. But it's okay, it's fine.
Hello, and welcome to the neutrino weather. And if you're a child and you're expecting Santa to come down the chimney, I'm sorry, he's reinvesting his funds in a new heating complex at his North Pole resort. And that's the way that it goes, unfortunately. Well, I'm only kidding, sort of. But then again, we do have Pluto in the 58 too, and Pluto in the 58 too is really something. And of course, we do have the Sun in the 58 and the Earth in the 52, so we've got the conjunction that is there between Pluto and the Sun. But remember about the nature of the 58 too. It takes resources away from where the collective thinks the resources should go. And it places the resources somewhere else. Somewhere else. You know, so there's a lot of pent-up potential frustration and anger and bitterness about the fact that resources that are expected or resources that are assumed could be expected aren't going to show up. This is one of the things really to grasp about the 58 too, the way in which it changes the flow of energy necessary to work with the pattern, to work with the structure. So it's one of the main themes to keep in mind. Most of this week is really about the 58 because, again, you're dealing with the Sun and Pluto, and this is a very powerful force. But the real thing to keep in mind is that as we get to New Year and as we get to January the 1st, you know, we're stepping into a frequency of the 38 and the 39. That is, we're stepping into a frequency of opposition and obstruction. It's why I give this warning, you know, all the time about the nature of the end of the calendar year. It's not the end of the year. It's not what this time is meant to be about in terms of, you know, looking over the past and reflecting and all of these things. There's a structure in this process as we lead up to the Sun, going into the 41st gate. And the 41st gate is the great initiating codon. It's out of the 41st gate that we get the whole theme of what it is to be human. We get the human experiential way, the 41 to the 30 to the 36 to the 35. Everything begins with the 41, and we're not there yet. So it's something to keep in mind about this week. It's something to understand about what's going on in the background, because this Pluto transit is going to continue with Pluto in the 58 too. This is something that is going to impact this plane that we're living on. And not just simply, you know, the diversion of resources in the individual context that can be possible through this kind of a transit, but to see what's taking place in the world around us, in the societies around us, and the way in which this Pluto transit of the 58 too is going to create a great deal of anxiety. Something to keep in mind. We've got both Jupiter and Uranus that are there in the 36th gate, which is the gate of crisis. There's a tremendous amount of potential for crisis through this diversion of resources. And it's something we need to be aware of and keep in view. However, as I always like to say, if you're following your strategy and authority, the weather, whatever the weather may be, it truly is there for your pleasure, for your entertainment, for the movie. Relationships. You know, it's one of those things that everybody is so fascinated about. You come into knowledge like this and you look at your own design, you're immediately curious about those people in your life and the way that you connect to them. And obviously there are so many different kinds of connections, different ways in which beings connect. There's all the information, obviously, that is inherent in their individual charts. And yet, for those of you that are really at human design at the beginning, I want to be able to give you something really, really, really simple. A very easy way, very superficial way, by the way, so please keep that in mind, of being able to look at any kind of partnership. You know, you and a lover, you and a friend, you and a child, you and a parent, you and a colleague, whatever it happens to be. In the early 90s, I developed a kind of nursery rhyme, you know, children's rhyme, to describe the way in which people come together. And it's very simple. It works like this. If you take your design and you take somebody else's design and you put them together, what we're going to look at is, do you connect up all the centers together? There's 9 centers that are there in the body matrix. So this is a question of whether centers are all going to be defined or not. And it begins with 9 and O. That is, 9 centers defined, no centers open. So this is a partnership, a relationship in which you put the 2 auras together, you look at the 2 designs, and what you see, you've got 9 centers defined. 9 and O, nowhere to go. It's the kind of relationship that locks you in. It's the kind of relationship that, in fact, doesn't let others in as well. And of course, this isn't about good or bad, because it can be wonderful if it's working, and it can be horrible if it's not. It's simply about understanding the mechanism. It's a 9 and O. There's nowhere to go. And then there's an 8 and 1. Now that 1 is an open center, 1 open center. And the 8 and 1 is have some fun. And have some fun indeed. For a relationship, that open window, that single open window, gives them something that they can both go out and meet together. It is something that can, in fact, enrich their relationship, allow them to get away from the tensions within their relationship that arise in any normal relationship, and have a common outlet where they really can go in a direction together. 8 and 1, have some fun. 7 and 2, work to do. And work to do because there are 2 windows now. It's not the same thing. It's not like an 8 and 1. Now there's the possibility that one partner goes out one window and the other partner goes out the other to escape each other. And so in the 7 and 2, there is always, in any relationship, work to do. And then there's 6 and 3. Well, that's better to be free. In 6 and 3, you have 3 open centers. There are always going to be all kinds of distractions. It is not like a 9 and O where you're closed in, but this is the kind of relationship that is, well, a relationship that can never really be stable all the time. 6 and 3, better to be free. And 5 and 4, well, not a relationship anymore, but it certainly can be interesting. It's a simple rhyme. 9 and O, nowhere to go. 8 and 1, have some fun. 7 and 2, work to do. 6 and 3, better to be free. 5 and 4, not a relationship anymore. Well, there's your nursery rhyme guide to relationships. Enjoy it.
Got a dream in a tear last night, watched the world fade out of sight. Seen the ghosts of time preside, eagles soared and falcons cried. Sleeping phoenix on the rise. Abundance and strange the skies.